This is lesson 70 from My Catholic Faith, copyright 1956, I believe. And so this lesson is about salvation in the Catholic Church. So if you wanted to read this, you could certainly pause, as you're reading through it, and I'll just briefly kind of take a photo of it, I guess, or a video. You can read it on your own. It's pretty basic. Pretty sure most of you probably already know these ideas. It doesn't go really deep into the topic, but I think it's the essentials. I'm surprised how short, really. It's just 2 pages talking about salvation and the role of the Catholic Church in salvation. So I want to go over these points here verbally. You can read it on your own, I suppose, straight from the horse's mouth. But it goes over these points. So extra ecclesiam nulla salus is something more traditionally minded Catholics might come across, or at least it's a doctrine that is discussed much more often in more traditionalist or conservative circles. So basically that means outside of the church, no salvation. And there's different interpretations of what that actually means. So you might have heard of the Feniites, who take a very strict interpretation of extra ecclesiam nulla salus, where unless you are water baptized in the Catholic Church, you're not going to be saved, right? So they deny baptism of blood, baptism of desire, which are actually taught in the Catechism of the Council of Trent, which I actually have that here on my bookshelf here. So if you have this book, you can look it up there. But it's in here, but it's also in the Council of Trent itself. Basically, a more moderate, I guess, interpretation would be basically you have to be, there is this requirement that all must become Catholic. So if you want to be saved, you should be baptized Catholic and practicing a practical Catholic at that. And it goes into these other points, which is basically there is a requirement to be Catholic, but if you are not Catholic, or you've left the Catholic Church and you're not reconciled with the Catholic Church, but it's through no fault of your own, like you are not, so it's invincible, right? So whatever barrier there is that's keeping you from either entering the Catholic Church or reconciling with the Catholic Church, and it's not your fault, and you can't overcome that barrier, then you may be able to be saved, because it's not your fault. You can't be responsible for something that you don't have the power to overcome, right? So that's called invincible ignorance. So that's point number 10 there. But if the not just ignorance, but invincible kind of separation, or ignorance or separation, right? So if you are ignorant of the Catholic Church and you don't, and you're not able to overcome that ignorance, right? So the situation would be, for vincible ignorance, would be something like you don't know much about the Catholic Church, but you live in a town where there's a Catholic Church every couple of miles. So you have the opportunity to put yourself in the sphere of knowing what the Catholic Church is all about, but you, for whatever reason, that is vincible, that is you're able to overcome that ignorance. You refuse to explore further, then you might not. You're most likely not going to be saved, because it is through your own fault that you are separated or not part of the Catholic Church, or joined to the Catholic Church. Other points would be Christ died for all. So when Christ died on the cross, he died for everyone, not just for some. So that's the Calvinist idea, that Christ died only for the elect. He died for everyone. So there is a sort of this universal salvific will of Christ to offer up his sacrifice for all men. The other side of the coin there would be that because of man's free will, you willingly choose to apply the fruits of that, what's called the atonement, the fruits of that sacrifice of Christ on the cross, to your own life, right? So it's mediated through your own free will acceptance of Christ's sacrifice on the cross. So I spoke about invincible ignorance, culpable, what I call culpable separation, which is you're responsible for your separation from the Catholic Church for whatever reason. You may not be saved, or you're likely not to be saved because you could overcome it, but you choose to resist that reconciliation with the Church. Those who are outside and doubt, but does not seek the truth further. So you might doubt the veracity of your sort of Protestant religion, but or any other religion really, if you're whatever you're practicing. But if you don't take that next step of exploring to see where the truth lies, then you are not going to be saved. Grave sins, or if you deny doctrine. So basically, salvation has to do with being or dying in a state of what's called grace, in a state of grace. So then you're justified, right? So you don't have any grave sins or mortal sins on your soul. You don't deny any Catholic doctrines that you're aware of and understand. If you are in a state of mortal sin, you're still a member of the Catholic Church, but you're what's called a dead member of the Church, right? So to be reconciled and become a living member of the Church, you have to go to confession and receive, or achieve that state of justification once more. And then you have excommunication. So if you join the Freemasons, for example, or you participate in some kind of abortion, those are automatic excommunications. You get married outside of the Catholic Church. If you are Catholic, you're automatically excommunicated. The only way to be reconciled is to receive absolution from your local bishop there. So those are basically, and then disadvantages of being outside of the Catholic Church. Obviously, if the Catholic Church is the tutor, is the teacher of what it means to be Christian and how to live as a Christian, then obviously you're at a disadvantage if you're not unified with the Catholic Church and you don't have that tutor, you don't have that teacher to take advantage of. So there's that. Until next time, God bless you.